Morning, everyone. In opening the meeting today, I would like to acknowledge that this meeting of the WA Planning Commission is being live streamed, and I welcome everyone that is logged into the meeting today. This meeting is being recorded and will be available for viewing via the Commission's website and YouTube. I wish to advise observers that Commission members may refer to technical devices such as phones and laptops throughout the meeting to assist them in considering the information before them. In opening the meeting, I acknowledge that we meet today on the traditional lands of the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation and pay our respects to their elders past and present. We have no apologies today. Do we have any applications for leave of absence, please? No, thank you. Attending in person today are myself, the Deputy Chair, Commissioner Cole, Commissioner Adair, Commissioner Bennett, Commissioner Brooks, Commissioner Heron, Commissioner Hall and Commissioner Sandry. Attending via Zoom all the way from Canberra, we welcome Commissioner Lakey. Good morning. And we have observers from the Department of Water and Environmental Regulation in Damien Hills, the Department of Transport, Justin McCurdy. Welcome, Justin. And tentatively, we are going to be joined by Lisette Graves from the Department of Communities. I move to item 1.3, disclosures of interest. And on item 3.2, the MRS amendment, part of lot 5892 Morella Road, Poolsbrook, approval to advertise. Commissioner Bennett has declared an impartiality interest. Stockland is the proponent behind this application, and Commissioner Bennett's employer acts for Stockland on other projects. I will ask Commissioner Bennett to leave the room for that particular item and the deputation. On item 3.2, again, the MRS amendment for Morella Road, Poolsbrook, I have declared a representation interest in as much as I've met the owners of the land several times over many years during negotiations in my role as chairman. I've not been provided with any additional information that is not available to Commission members. On item 4.1, the potential district structure plan for Karabuda, I have declared again a representation interest in as much as I have met the proponent and DPLH officers regarding this project over the last 18 months. In my role as chairman, I have not been provided with any additional information that is not available to Commission members. Again, on item 4.1, Karabuda, Commissioner Bennett has declared a direct pecuniary interest. Commissioner Bennett's employer is the proponent for this project. Commissioner Bennett will leave the room for the deputation and discussion on that item. Again, on item 4.1, Karabuda, Commissioner Sandry has declared a perceived impartiality interest in as much as he previously acted on behalf of the owners of one of the lots within the area in relation to a land use compliance matter. Commissioner Sandry will remain in the meeting for that item. On item 4.1, again, Karabuda, Commissioner Cole has declared a representation interest in that Commissioner Cole met with myself and the representatives of the landowner in her role as Deputy Chair ahead of my leave of absence last month. She has not been provided with any additional information that is not before the Commission and will remain in the meeting. Again, on Karabuda, Commissioner Heron has declared a representation interest in as much as he has met with the proponents and has not been provided with any additional information to that before the Commission this morning and will remain in the meeting. On item 4.2, Planning Control Area number 137, Paganoni Road in Karna, a renewed declaration of that PCA. I have declared a representation interest in as much as I've met with the owners of the land several times over many years during negotiations on the Planning Control Area in my role as chairman. I have not been provided with any additional information that is not available to Commission members. On item 4.3, the Mandogla Improvement Scheme number 1, delegations and administrative adjustments, Commissioner Bennett has declared a possible impartiality interest in as much as she acts for Satterley as a land developer in the area. Commissioner Bennett will leave the room for that particular matter. Again, on Mandogla, Commissioner Adair has declared a perceived impartiality interest in that she was a director of planning for Satterley Property Group, which owns land in the area and made submissions on this matter. Commissioner Adair will leave the room for that item. On item 4.2, the Perth Convention and Exhibition Centre redevelopment project, Commissioner Heron has declared an active impartiality interest inasmuch as he has previously provided advice to the joint venture on this project, and his employer Urbis is engaged to provide economic advice to the proponent. Commissioner Heron will leave the room for that particular item. And again on item 4.4, the Perth Convention and Exhibition Centre, Commissioner Lakey has declared a perceived impartiality interest inasmuch as he provided project management services to the PCEC on the project for 3 months from May to July 2023. I will ask Commissioner Lakey to leave the room for that particular item. Are there any other declarations of interest, please? No, thank you very much. I will declare that the West Australian Planning Commission is both a landowner and a decision maker in relation to item 4.2, which is the planning control area number 137, Paganoni Road realignment of Tarnub. This is an interest in common shared by members and is not considered to prejudice their ability to impartially determine the matter within the planning framework. We move to item 1.4, declaration of due consideration. Could all members indicate that they have read the agenda, please? Thank you. Item 1.4.1, question from members and responses from DPLH staff. Commissioner Bennett lodged 2 questions earlier this week, and the answers have been provided. Are you satisfied with the answers?
Yes, thanks.
Thank you very much. Move to item 1.5, the minutes of the meeting of the 9th of October 2024 for confirmation. Could I have a move and a second that we adopt those minutes, please? Moved by Commissioner Heron, seconded by Commissioner Hall. No dissent. Thank you very much. We move to item 2, deputations and presentations. Over to you, Sam.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. I welcome everyone that is present in order to make a deputation today, either in person or via Zoom. You will be invited to join the table or promoted to a panelist via Zoom to deliver your deputation. You have been advised your allocated time will be managed by a timer which will appear on the screen, and you will hear 2 alert tones, first at 30 seconds remaining and then when your time has concluded. And we don't have you on the PowerPoint presentation. So our first deputation this morning is on item 3.1 on the agenda, on the MRS amendment part of lot 3 Midland Road, Hazelmere, and we will be inviting John Burgess via Zoom. So we'll just promote John to the meeting. Good morning, John. If you can hear us, please turn your video on. Oh, there we go. You're catching up with us now. Good morning, John. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
As I outlined, you're here to present on item 3.1 on the agenda. You do have 5 minutes to present this morning, so over to you when you're ready. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commission members. Thank you for the opportunity to present a very brief deputation to you this morning in relation to item 3.1, which is approval to advertise an MRS amendment which proposes to rezone part of Lot 3 Midland Road in Hazelmere from rural to urban. The proposal is consistent with the North East Sub-Regional Planning Framework and abuts at a local structure plan that we prepared for the existing zone portion of the site and some of the surrounding areas. We also have an approved subdivision over the balance of the land which is currently being implemented. The approved subdivision yields 9 light industrial lots of about 2,000 to 3,000 square metres in area, and it creates a road which will provide frontage to 6 or 7 future light industrial lots that will be created once this amendment and subsequent LSP and subdivision processes are complete. This is only a small project, but an important one, with all of these lots being sold very quickly, given the limited development area of the site and its convenient location. As such, my client is very, very keen to bring stage 2 to the market as soon as possible. We are pleased no issues have been raised during the normal pre-advertising referral of the amendment, and my thanks to the department's officers for raising with us a late correspondence from Main Roads, which we're confident can be considered as part of the normal advertising process. On behalf of my client and myself, I'd like to thank the department's planners for their comprehensive and thorough report and for their ongoing collaboration throughout this process. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commission members.
Thank you very much, Mr. Burgess. Commission members, are there any questions, please, of John? No, thank you very much, John.
Thank you.
We move to our second deputation, which is on item 3.2, the MRS amendment part of lot 5812 Morella Road, Hillsbrook, for approval to advertise. I'm pleased to welcome Cole Dutton and Damien Shepherd from Stockland, together with Tom Barry and Kasia Becker. Join us. Gentlemen, you have 3 minutes in which to present to the Commission. I don't think we need to use the timer. I trust your integrity.
We'll be quick.
Over to you, Cole. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, for the opportunity. Damien and Kasia, Damien is a development director and general manager for Stockland WA. Tom's a senior development manager and Kasia's CDP consultant's been on this job since we acquired it back in 2021. Stockland has around 10,000 lots across 3 what we call pipeline projects coming to the Commission over the next few months. This one today, another one in a couple of weeks' time in regard to an MRS and DSP down at North East Baldivis, and also we've got another 4,000 lots in East Wabaroo at Marigina. So you'll see us a few times hopefully over the next few months. Certainly we're trying to bring all 3 pipeline projects on as quickly as possible. We have no hurdles in regard to anything financial or anything else. We're ready to invest and get housing to market. This particular North East Baldivis, North Ellenbrook, we tucked in behind the DSPs that Parcel and Lend Lease have been progressing over the years, something that people normally do to us. We saw the opportunity given the sand mining site that this site is. Damien will take you through the attributes of the site, but certainly we'd like to thank the planning officers in regard to progressing the planning and environmental considerations, but also that whole corridor. There's been a lot of infrastructure coordination considerations, including a major interchange, which we think is back on track after a couple of years after the announcement of it being made. So we're confident we're heading in the right direction with this particular community, and Stockland, I suppose, has been renowned for house and land and build to sell products, if you like. Certainly our proposal for this particular site with over 2,000 dwellings will include build to sell products, the normal stuff, build to rent, which we're working through, horizontal build to rent, land lease communities, which is a downsizer product, community real estate, which is childcare, retail centres and the like, and a primary school. So we certainly are well advanced in regard to the site itself, in regard to planning. We're about to lodge in the next month or so an LSP to progress it, and we're super keen to accelerate the planning component of the areas we have to address. The Damien for the attributes of the site itself.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Chairman and WPC members. So, in summary, we're supportive of the content and recommendation within the report, and we thank the officers for their efforts on that. The planning case for the urbanisation of the subject land is well-grounded and compelling in our view. Creates an ideal opportunity for sequential land use. And this was recognised by the approval of Amendment 1 to the North Ellenbrook West DSP in July of this year. Vegetation across the entire mining tenement subject to this amendment, aside from the CCW and its associated buffers, will be cleared as part of the sand resource extraction process, which operates under all required environmental and planning approvals. It's our view that the most critical strategic question at this stage is then, what is the highest and best use of this land post sand mining, given everything that we now know, which is that the majority of the site will be cleared of vegetation to facilitate the approved sand mining. There's a current housing supply shortage in Perth and Western Australia. The land immediately to the north and northeast has been strategically endorsed by government via district structure planning for urban development, and the significant infrastructure investment which Cole touched on, which is planned to occur in the area, including the new Tonkin Freeway interchange, which we're committed to contributing to the initial funding for the delivery of that. So given all of that, we believe the logical and strategic conclusion is for the land to be developed for urban purposes. In regard to the implementation and staging of urban development, it's always been acknowledged, and that sequential land use of this site will need to occur in response to the progression of the sand mining. This is provided for by SPP 2.4, and we're committed to continuing to progress the details of this as the planning progresses through the necessary layers. Thank you for your time, and we welcome any questions.
Thank you very much, Cole and Damien. I've never heard the term horizontal build to rent, but I assume that's single residential.
Yeah, single family.
As against vertical.
Yes, that was my language. I don't think I else used it. But
Congratulations.
do you use it?
Thank you.
policy.
Commission members, are there any questions, please, of Cole or Damien? No, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we move to our final deputation. It is on item 4.1, the potential district structure plan Karabuda. And I'm pleased to welcome Nick Perignon to join us at the table. Mr. Perignon, and I believe Alex Watson is joining us on Zoom.
Good morning, Alex. If you can hear us, could you please turn your video on so we may see you on the screen?
Morning all.
Thanks very much.
Mr. Perignon, you have 5 minutes in which to address the commission. So thank you very much.
Good morning, Chairman Caddy and Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to present a deputation. Page 2 of the pack I just distributed shows a location plan. Proposed urban precinct is fully connected to all required services. 3,400 metres to the new Alkimos rail station, 1,400 metres to the freeway. Water and power within the site. Major sewer connections now installed east of the Alkimos rail station. The normal pre-funded headworks by the developer to build sewer pump station rising main. There are no major government costs for infrastructure to facilitate this project. On page 5, you'll see the land holding has 16% agricultural use, which has been steadily shrinking since the North Wanneroo Agriculture and Water Task Force report was published on the 16th of August in 2018. And that report confirmed 10% water cuts to all agricultural users in this district. Large-scale agriculture has been migrating north to Gingin and Woodridge for the last 10 years. There now exists over 1,500 hectares of large-scale horticulture in Woodridge. Gingin now has over 800 hectares, and north of this site, the balance of Karabuda through the State Forest 65 has over 500 hectares of large-scale agriculture. All of those users have major pivot sprinklers and walk-in sprinklers, and they operate at large efficient scales. The small patchwork quilt of local gardeners is under extreme pressure now, and water cuts will diminish them further. The large-scale turf farm within our land holding can only operate at 40% land area today, and the 10% water cuts will make viability very difficult. Our land area has no watercourses and no wetlands within its boundaries. There is substantial clearance to groundwater, and there is no need to import fill. Land ownership is consolidated across large land holdings with cooperative owners. Development is ready to proceed to provide affordable lots for the Perth market. In today's dollars, we can provide a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house and land package for $580,000 within 35 minutes of the CBD. The services connections are very strong for this land, and there is a new rail station with a strong need for patronage to allow MetroNet efficiencies to be achieved. No major government infrastructure funding is required to allow development to proceed. The project will provide over 200 hectares of conservation reserves and provide permanent funding for its maintenance. City of Wanneroo have been briefed on a specific area rating model to allow permanent funding of conservation reserve maintenance, together with seed capital of $8.5 million provided by the land developers for the Conservation Management Fund. BRM recovery can be achieved in areas which are already cleared or do not have TEC flora present. That does not account for all BRM. because there are very strict requirements regards clearing being imposed by both EPA, state and federal, which must be respected. However, sequential BRM recovery from central land areas for sand and limestone can be undertaken where EPBC Act approvals will allow. The project will allow first choice of lots developed for the government housing pipeline by allocating 1 in 9 lots as first choice to government. Since the major Department of Communities projects have all been completed, which includes Ellenbrook, Banksia Grove, Brighton, it has been proven there is a huge gap in stock supply to the government housing pipeline. The early development of this land will respond to the housing crisis with a very strong offering and with no demand on government funding for infrastructure. The Ministerial Oversight Committee met on the 22nd of October. That was also attended by Director General for Planning, Director General for Environment, and Director General Transport and their key officers. The 3 ministers, including Deputy Premier Saffioti, Minister Carey and Minister Whitby, provided strong endorsement for the project to proceed. The acting chair of EPA sent an email on the 3rd of October, and I quote, EPA has selected Karabuta project as the spearhead trial for EPA providing advice into a WAPC DSP environmental planning process. We are anticipating this will provide more efficiency, certainty, and improved environmental outcomes. End of quote. We respectfully seek WAPC endorsement to finalise the DSP report and plans, and to have delegated authority for the chair of the WAPC to send the DSP for advertising when the DPLH officers and the chair are satisfied that all reports and plans are ready to proceed. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Perringer. Commission members, are there any questions, please, of the deputation?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your presentation. I also have 2 questions. The first is just the extent of the district structure plan area compared to the land ownership that you represent. And just to confirm that you'd be preparing structure plans for areas outside of your ownership. Is that the case?
It is. The land ownership we represent comprises 650 hectares spread amongst 6 owners. The total area is 943 hectares, where there are another 42 titles with 35 owners, and we're in consultation with them as well. And the plan we're preparing will represent the entire 943 hectare area.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further questions?
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Chair, just one more.
Sure.
And I couldn't help but just notice on the page 2 of your handout, just the first dot point, fully connected to existing infrastructure. So is that's the plan to fully connect? Because currently, obviously, there are infrastructure upgrades needed, and you're saying you'll commit to extending all of those infrastructure.
And that's why I highlighted the sewer connection. We need to install a pump station at Rising Main to meet that sewer connection. All of the other infrastructures, the largest water tank in the northern corridor is within the land holding. A 1600 diameter water main is notified to be installed right through the land holding, and 22 kVA and 220 kVA power is already existing within the land holding. The scale of the project, of course, over time will demand that all of those services be upgraded by the developer as we proceed over the 20-year cycle.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Herron.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. I'm just wanting to, whether this be directed to yourself or Alex, the western boundary of the DSP area, in terms of the rationale as to why that was set as the boundary. Obviously, that then there is a remaining land between that and Wanneroo Road. I just wanted to understand what the drivers behind that were.
The majority of that boundary is Carraborup Road and Gibbs Road, and that represents a significant contour at the edge of the land, and then the contour drops down into a damp land, wetland structure. The road ended up there because the early farmers and gardeners there kept above that contour line to stop the carriage wheels dropping through into the soft soil. That area to the west is identified by the City of Wanneroo, and they describe it as the rural way, and they see that as replicating the style of Swan Valley tourism development that they perceive is valuable for that land. There's also a part of that land that the City of Wanneroo is very interested to have a caravan park across to support arrivals from the north and also be part of that rural way tourism precinct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sanders.
Thank you. You touched on the water, which I appreciate. I just want to understand, so from your perspective, will there be a significant loss of agricultural land in this part of the region, or is that already on the demise due to the water supply?
It's very significantly on the demise. There's one grower that's consolidated water licenses and therefore being able to keep active and efficient. That grower is very interested in moving to large scale to the north, getting to much greater efficiencies. The water allocations in the district also include 1.2 gigalitres of Leederville formation water being pumped out of our land holding across to Lake Nowaga, and that is for the purpose of maintaining a ministerial direction that Lake Nowaga stays at a particular level to support flora and fauna. With urbanisation of the land, our water reports and hydrology, very confident that the superficial aquifer will rise and will provide that replenishment of Lake Nowaga, which will allow release of 1.2 gigalitres of Leederville water to go back into the Water Corporation for treatment use as potable water supply.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alex, thank you very much for your presentation. You do talk about the ability to produce new lots in 3 years. I just wondered what extent of yield that might be and how that links to the upgrades that you're speaking about. Would that be a sort of substantial amount of lots, or how much expenditure on infrastructure would there be to achieve that?
Yes, there's a series of infrastructure spends, the major one being sewer pump station, rising mains that link in. There's substantial road and transport infrastructure already installed. It's Carraboorup Road being upgraded right through to the east of Wanneroo Road. So there's some minor road upgrades in that section. The ability to bring on and start producing at the rate of 300 to 400 lots per annum is available when we complete our zonings and our local structure plans and of course the local plan scheme, the City of Wanneroo. Once those are completed, subdivision applications lodged, we're comfortably able to produce 300-400 lots a year and grow from there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further questions, please? Thank you very much, Mr. Curran.
Chairman.
Bennett, thank you. Okay, we move to item 3, the non-confidential items for discussion and decision or voting. And item 3.1, the MRS amendment, part of lot 3, Middle Road, Hazelmere, before us this morning with a recommendation for approval to advertise the amendment. We're joined by Rowan and Anthony. Good morning. As they say in the classics, there has been a development overnight. So I'd like you to speak to your report and then take us to that particular matter, please.
I might defer to Anthony to speak to the report and then I can respond to the other matter if that's okay. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. So we have a MRS amendment request for initiation on the agenda today. It's proposing to rezone approximately 3.22 hectares of land in Hazelmere from rural to urban. Essentially, the proposal, as described previously, is consistent with Perth and Peel at 3.5 million, certified as an expansion. Since that has been prepared, there's also been the Hazelmere Enterprise Area Structure Plan, which has identified the site for potential either residential or light industrial development. So the site is located within that. And specifically, the district structure plan provided for little clarification of the final land use through a local structure plan process, and that has identified the site for light industrial purposes, which is consistent with the balance of the land. So essentially, if the amendment were to proceed as an urban zone, a separate local scale amendment would be undertaken to zone the site light industrial, which would be consistent with the surrounding area. So since the report has been prepared, there's been new advice which I might want to talk about in terms of the implications of the interchange with Great Eastern Highway and Roe Highway. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Anthony. The advice that we have now received from Main Roads, I understand, was circulated to members yesterday. In summary, Main Roads in May 2023 advised that they had no objection to the proposed MRS amendment. We have heard from them recently on Friday and again yesterday with more detail. The issue relates to the classification of some environmental values around the intersection of the Great Eastern Highway bypass and Roe Highway. That's causing complications, I understand, in relation to the design or location of the principal shared path as part of that intersection. The information that was circulated yesterday is all we have at this stage. From our point of view, given where we are at in the process, I would suggest that it's still possible and appropriate to initiate the MRS amendment. We can engage with Main Roads through the consultation process. And I noted that the advice of Main Roads has said that they would put in a submission. I think that submission would be very useful in drawing out some detail about exactly what is required or not. And then that can be responded to prior to the amendment being finalised. Through the Chair, Justin McCurdy from the Department of Transport is here today and may wish to speak to this issue as well.
Thank you very much. Justin, do you wish to add any comments?
Thanks, Chair. Look, probably happy to respond to any questions. There's, I think, firstly, Chair, you raised in the distribution of the Main Roads comments this morning that you'd like to know why it's come up at this point in time. I think the key issue there is that advice was provided in May 2023. It's a live project and has been for 4 years, extended because of the complexities associated with the environmental approvals in large part. And Main Roads, I think, at the time of providing the response were confident that they knew the landscape. Since then, there's been quite a change, particularly at the federal level, with a change of government, and that's complicating the situation more than they had anticipated. So I think that's probably the key issue at the moment. And yes, why has it come up now? Obviously, the bringing of this to the Commission highlights it to the project team, and they've provided this feedback.
Thank you very much, Justin. My view is that if it was deferred, then essentially it doesn't put a timeline on finalisation of these negotiations. If it was to be advertised, then of course it does put everyone on notice that we have a finite period in which to resolve these issues. And of course, at the end of the day, if the information isn't available, then the Commission can determine whether or not the amendment proceeds to final approval. So, thank you. Anything else you wish to add, John? Now, we'll open it up for discussion. Are there any questions of Anthony, Rowan, or Justin? Thank you, Commissioner Bennett.
Thanks, Chair. So at attachment 7 to the report, it's got the indicative subdivision layout for the site. And from what I understand from the discussions, the likely implications of this could be additional land that's excluded from the amendment area to accommodate the principal shared path. It would seem to me, looking at that subdivision plan, that by taking additional land won't impact the development potential of the site because it's got road access to Midland Road all the way along the eastern boundary. Would you agree with that? Has there been any further investigation as to the viability of the subdivision with the additional land take? It would seem that it's not an issue yet.
I think maybe I'll defer to Justin.
Thanks, Commissioner Bennett. Probably the key question at the moment, because of the uncertainty around the approvals for the environmental, there's also uncertainty about what the actual land impact might be. It's an outside risk, but there is a risk that environmental approvals may not be forthcoming, in which case a redesign of the interchange or a further redesign of the interchange may well be required, in which case the impact on the land may be much more substantial than perhaps initially anticipated, which at the moment is probably only in relation to the PSP, but it might be more significant than that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? If not, do I have a move and a second that we adopt the recommendation moved by Commissioner Hall, seconded by Commissioner Sandbury? No dissent. Thank you very much. Thank you, General. Thank you, Justin. We'll move to item 3.2. I will ask Commissioner Bennett to please read the room. Thank you. The MRS amendment part of lot 5892 Morella Road, Hallsbrook, approval to advertise. And again, we're joined by Anthony and Rowan. You've heard the deputation. Are there any further comments you'd like to make in support of the report?
Not for me, Chairman.
Not for me. Thank you. Thank you. Are there any questions, please, of the officers? No, thank you. We do have a recommendation before us. Do I have a move and a second to adopt the recommendation? Moved by Commissioner Adair, seconded by Commissioner Cole. No dissent. Thank you very much. Commissioner Bennett, back to you. Thank you. We move to item 4, confidential items for discussion, decision or noting. And the Commission will now move to the consideration of these items. And in doing so, I seek a mover and a seconder to resolve that the meeting be closed to members of the public. Moved by Commissioner Herron, seconded by Commissioner Hall. No dissent. Thank you very much. Members of the public, thank you very much.